year or so. So I'm really looking forward to this project and working with all of you. Thank you. And I think I see Linda Loska. So I'll pass it on to Linda.
Okay, that's me. Hi, I'm Linda Loska. I am the co-chair of the Bowdoin Geneva Geneva Cliffs, and I'm also a member of the Greater Bowdoin Geneva Neighborhood Association, and also the Friends of the I'm losing my mind. Coppin Square.
Thanks.
And I don't know who else is on to pass to.
Yeah, I could. I see Eric. I see Eric's face. You're muted. Sorry. Eric Fellinger.
Oh, there we are. Okay. I wasn't in control. I was pushing the mute button in the wrong place. Hi, everybody. Eric Fellinger. I'm with Viet-Aid. I'm the Real Estate Development Director for Viet-Aid. We have a 41-unit family apartment building under construction right now at Bowdoin and Topliff that I assume everybody in the neighborhood is familiar with, that we intend to become the home of the Dorchester Food Co-op on the ground floor with 600 plus square feet of commercial space. We also are proposing a 36-unit senior housing facility at 25 to 33 Hamilton Street, and that is another area where traffic and traffic speeds are, I know, a concern to the immediate neighbors and to the community, and we very much want to partner with BTD, with the city, and with the neighborhood to help find solutions for that corridor, that spot. And for everybody's information, I actually, before I was in this job, I did spend a decade working in transportation planning for Tetra Tech Rizzo out in Framingham, as well as for Wilbur Smith Associates in New Haven, Connecticut.
Awesome, thanks.
And we're partnering with Hebrew Senior Life as a management agent. They're a leading manager and developer of senior housing in Eastern Massachusetts. And Deb Morse from Hebrew Senior Life is on the call. I know she can't stay long, so I just want to recognize her, and I'll pass it to her to introduce herself.
Hey,
I hope Deb, are you still on? It looks like she might have jumped off.
That's okay. Appreciate that.
All right, so
I could get on.
Yeah, I'll just pass it. Let's see here. I think there was someone else I knew. I see an Emma Page. Is that Emma from?
She's actually with Water and Sewer.
Oh, she's Water and Sewer. Okay.
That was my fault. I didn't introduce Emma. Hello.
Hi.
Emma.
No worries. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Emma Page. I'm a design engineer with Boston Water and Sewer. I'm not sure. I think my boss Brendan may also be on.
Yeah, that's great. Sorry, I missed you guys.
But,
I see.
no worries.
I see Sarah from Sarah Kudra.
Yeah. So I'm Sarah Kruger with Mount Bowdoin Betterment Association, formerly of Four Corners Board of Directors with Teresa, and I'm an architect in real life, and so I've been very interested in following this slow-moving transportation progression.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Well,
having
we're kicking off now. We're ramping up now, Sarah.
Yeah.
We're ramping up. This is the big kickoff. So I appreciate everyone, and I appreciate Sarah. Yeah, I know you've been we've been on some calls in the past, and this is great. Now we have the resources to really move this forward. So I saw Dustin Gardner. You want to check in? I know we've collaborated before in the past. You want to say
everyone?
Hello?
Yeah. So previously was on staff with Counselor Campbell. Getting in touch with this work, and now she was staff for the Council Where Else. So happy to be here.
Dynamite, thanks. And in other neighborhood folks, Bloomfield Park, is that CJ?
Yeah, it's me. Hey, Pat. Hey, everyone. CJ Jean Lewis, co-chair for Bloomfield Park, formerly Councilor Campbell's office. Good to see you all.
All right. Fantastic. CJ, appreciate you being here. And I know you've been in your work in the neighborhood behind an effort to get this going. And it's great that we're at this stage where we have a real project that we can move. Is there anyone else in the neighborhood? Did we call out? I think we got everybody introduced. And I wanted to just make sure that, we get to know each other as we go forward. on these calls. We'll have, I mean, this is the leadership that has stepped up. And, you know, as we move along, we want your counsel and your guidance. And I think part of what we wanted to do today, maybe in the discussion, is get some advice on how we could maybe reach a larger audience and how we might structure that. So, but I saw, was that Samantha that just jumped on? Hey, Samantha, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah. And I started recording the meeting too, so we could get people's comments and everything that if we had to go back and rewind to, you know, skip something with our note taking. So I just want to let everyone know that. And all right, since we introduced everybody, without further ado, I wanted to get into the slides. Caitlin from our Kittleson team, Caitlin Milner, has been doing tremendous work helping us as well. Can you cue that up? Do you have the slides?
I do, yes. I will share them now. All right, if you could just confirm when you see it.
I'm not seeing it right now,
Yeah,
Caitlin.
Taking a minute to think about it. Sorry about that.
If I had to, I could share it on my end. I just wouldn't be able to see everybody, but that's okay.
Yeah, sorry. Might have too many things open on my computer. It's frozen right now.
Okay. All right. You want me? I could present then. All right. I'm going to present my screen. View slideshow. How's that? Everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see anybody nodding, so you'll have to verbalize in response. But we went over the welcome and introductions. Again, appreciate everyone's time and effort, especially during an afternoon call. And we are so flexible in terms of like when we meet going forward, evening calls, daytime, whatever works for people. But just the general agenda and kind of what's in the slideshow, I wanted to, develop and present the context of this project, get into some of the technical aspects of it, in the scope, the project boundaries, different types of installations that we have in mind as we go forward with design to create safer streets in Bowdoin Geneva, into traffic calm, and then the discussion. We want to save time within the hour to have a discussion and a general Q&A as well. So again, the core team, myself, Jeff from Public Works, and then I mentioned how important it was disabilities and BPDA, Boston Water and Sewer, again, city agencies, cross disciplines, as we get into design, because everything has to be reviewed and approved. And a lot of collaboration, a lot of work going on behind the scenes with our different departments. On the Kittleson team, and I mentioned this, Kittleson are one of the best in the business, and I mean that wholeheartedly. And they have done so much important work for us in the Slow Streets program. They work on the cutting edge of developing solutions, and it will be no less for Bowdoin Geneva through this project. This isn't necessarily a Slow Streets project, but it has a lot of the elements of a Slow Streets project, if we want to put it kind of in that category. And they have a lineup of professionals that is just excellent, planners and engineers on the Kittleson team. Connor Selmler is a principal, and Juliet, as I mentioned, is our lead project manager with Caitlin assisting. So again, in the context, I wanted to talk about like these overarching themes in our goals, and these four, I just wanted to call out specifically the engagement, right? We're calling this group, group of leaders that we have assembled that have kind of stepped up or been nominated, so to speak, and through to Davita's group have come to the fore. And we want to be flexible, transparent. We want to meet people where they are. We want to have walkthroughs, pop-ups. If maybe we have a meeting at the Holland Up Academy or at the community center on Westful Street, right? Those are all possibilities, but we want to engage on the street level. And, the way things are, the direction things are heading with COVID, I would imagine that we'll be having some in-person meetings, maybe this spring, and definitely this summer, I would imagine. Why not, right? So something to look forward to, getting together in person with people. The second one, safety. This is like all about safety. It's really kind of been the genesis of the project has been issues of safety going back pre-pandemic, and that have really been exacerbated, I guess, over the last 2 years. We want to reduce conflicts in our design, and we want to eliminate crashes. It's whenever I get an alert on my phone about a crash, it just, it's unnerving. And I can imagine what it must be like in the neighborhood when we have crashes like we have had in this neighborhood and others across the city. We want to reduce that to zero. Comfort level, in terms of, just think about, as a pedestrian on the street, right? We want to look at issues around traffic, congestion, things like that. But what has really been important has been issues around speeding, and a lot of calls around speeding, 311s. And again, as a pedestrian, or a mom with their child, or just anyone traversing the neighborhood, we want to make sure that they have a level of comfort, whether they're walking or on a bike or any other mode, whether they're driving themselves or on a bus, that speeding is not something that gives an uncomfortable unease on the streets and in the neighborhood. So that's another priority and a goal and an overarching theme. And again, multimodal, all modes of transport. This is about ped safety. This is about bike safety. This is about transit use and reliability and comfort and safety. This is about motorists using their vehicles in a safe manner. Can we help to slow speeds on turns with some of our curb extensions, things like that? So I wanted to touch upon those and kind of frame the project and what our overarching goals are. So, why Bowdoin Geneva? Why now? Why wasn't it before, earlier? Well, so happy that it's happening now. It couldn't come sooner, but pre-pandemic we had issues, but again, this really, the last 2 years almost, we've had like a spike in 311s about speeding, concerns raised about speeding on residential streets to our, through neighborhood services and through our elected officials, that this is just becoming a problem. And we wanted to address it. We were able to find funding, find resources, and we're here now. We're ready to take this and get this underway. But also just the population of Bowdoin Geneva. I mean, it's a vulnerable population when you think of disparities. There are income disparities, there are health disparities. We have a good number of seniors that live in this community. We have youth facilities. There's a youth population. A number of young people live in this community, and they're our most vulnerable. We want to protect them. But aside from kind of the anecdotal, there's real data that we have. The streets that surround and are within the study area are within our high crash network. Sadly, in these top 3% on these streets, Bowdoin, Geneva in particular. So again, just some more context in kind of outlining this project and how it fits into neighboring initiatives. We have adjoining slow streets projects. We have the Hancock Street Triangle project that is immediately adjoining our study area. We have Grove Hall that is adjacent. We just rebuilt Quincy Street on the other side of Columbia Road. But we also, we haven't been sitting idly by while we've been having this planning in the works. We have ongoing interventions that are being designed and gearing up for implementation themselves. Small scale safety projects. There's just 3, for example. And if you go on our project webpage, on our BTD webpage, you'll find more if you zoom in. But we have at Richfield and Westwood Street, we have on Puritan Ave, and Rockmount and Willrose, just for example. Through our engineering division, we have these curb extension type daylighting programs to help with turning movements and just raise awareness and to create safer intersections. And then on a higher level, we have, the plans for a Fairmount Greenway kind of helix of ped bike accommodation that would run along the corridor of the Fairmount line. And then a longer term plan for Columbia Road itself that we hope to kick off sometime in 2022 with a visioning for Columbia Road to reconnect it as part of the Emerald Necklace and to, reimagine what Columbia Road could be like. The project area itself, the general boundaries, Columbia Road, kind of to the northwest, we have Bowdoin Street to Draper, to Westville, to Dakota, looping around Bloomfield, and then back to Washington, kind of as the eastern edge, and then over crossing over Eldon to bring it back down to Geneva. And this is a pretty substantial study area. It's a lot of ground to cover, but we have a lot to work with. We have already received feedback that DeVita gave us that was, compiled from comments that people had about issues they were concerned about. But we also have our own data and information that we've collected from calls that were received, again, through 311 and other modes on specific streets within these 3 sub-districts where speeding has been the number 1 issue. So all of these residential streets in areas 1, 2, and 3 that are specifically called out, we've received neighborhood feedback to our office, to the city, about issues of concern about speeding. But we were also highlighting, as part of the scope of this project, the main intersection itself of Bowdoin and Geneva. It's a lot of asphalt out there. It's not really very ped friendly. If you are crossing that street, it's a long way to go. So we're thinking about ways we can redesign the major intersection itself. And that's one of the major kind of focus areas of the effort. And then also a ped crossing. There's always been this desire, and it makes a lot of sense to have a crossing somewhere in the vicinity of the commuter rail station for passengers coming on and off. And it's just a desire line to get to the different facilities on the other side of the street. And we really don't have a crossing between Columbia Road and Only Street. So we want to make sure that we have a designed and implemented ped crossing on Geneva Ave within that block. So with the scope, I wanted to turn it over just to go through a little bit of the technical kind of aspects of the project and the scope with our project manager, Juliet. Do you want to take over these next couple slides?
Sure. Thanks, Pat. So great to be here. And I'm sure, I know a lot of people are really excited to see this project, this area moving forward in terms of getting some work done. So we do want to hear from you. I'll cover a few things, and then we're going to definitely get information out of you today. Just to give you an idea of our scope of work for the city for this project, it does, the work we're doing does involve both planning and where we are now, sort of this planning, pulling together recommendations phase. And then it does also include bringing forward projects for preliminary and engineering and final construction. That being said, it's roughly broken into four phases that correspond with the dates shown here. But we are also cognizant of the fact that there might be some short-term projects that are identified that maybe don't need a full engineering process and design, and therefore could be more of a quick build, shorter-term project that could be implemented in a sooner time frame. So just wanted to make sure you understand that even though this is the project phases overall, there might be some wiggle room within here in terms of shorter-term implementation. And Pat alluded to the fact that, we understand a lot of work has already been done out here. We are reviewing previous plans and looking at the recommendations. This map just demonstrates some of the recommendations that have come out of some of those prior planning projects. So we are starting to gather that and make sure we have a good sense of some of the things that have already been identified, as well as coordinating with the the projects that are going on in the periphery, and just making sure that we're being, collaborative in terms of what we identify for recommendations. And the city already has a really good toolkit for us to draw from. One of the primary focuses of this project is going to be on safety and traffic calming. And so we will be looking at potential treatments or, as infrastructure treatments or sign installations, things like that are already in the city's toolkit. So we aren't going to be creating things from scratch per se. We will be drawing from existing things that have shown that they've proven to have success elsewhere in the city. So this just gives you a sense of some of the things we'll be looking at. It's not an exhaustive list. Certainly there might be some things that we consider as well that aren't included here. And I'm happy to go back to this slide and if there are specific things that you want to ask about or get into.
Okay, awesome. At this point, and we got through that kind of as fast as we could to save enough time. But Juliet, did you mention that we've been collecting data and that we actually have some updated data to kind of gauge where things are now?
I don't think I mentioned that, Pat. Thanks for the reminder. So we are collecting new information, such as traffic counts. We want to have an understanding of the volume of traffic. We know that's going to be partly influenced by the pandemic, so maybe not an accurate reflection per se of normal behavior. But we also are collecting speed data as well, because we know that's one of the big concerns in the neighborhood. So we will have some information to draw from that's more current than past studies as well.
Okay, so what I wanted to do on this slide and kind of at this portion of the meeting is get some guidance with these. I have these 4 prompts to kind of get the juices flowing and give us on the city team and our design team some feedback. What we had in mind, this first one about neighborhood walkthroughs, and I know today was great. Today was mild. It was sunny, but we still are kind of in, we're in February. This is unusually mild weather, but when could we have a neighborhood walkthrough potentially? Would we want to do it? Do we want to have something in early March? Do we want to set something like that up? How do people feel about walkthroughs and when we might be able to do a walkthrough and kind of manage that and get valuable information from a walkthrough?
Make sure it's not the week of the 21st, and I'll be there.
On February, you mean school vacation week?
School vacation, exactly.
Yeah, if we did do something in February, so potentially, the 14th is Monday, so.
February might be a little early to try to advertise and generate a lot of, if the idea is to get a lot of comers to participate.
Okay, all right, but the general idea of having walkthroughs, people think that there's value in walkthroughs, right?
Absolutely. I think that's one key way of understanding the impact of what is happening in our neighborhood in terms of traffic and transportation and all the issues that need to be addressed. I would also encourage whatever the method is for communication and in gatherings, that there be an opportunity for them to be yes, during the day for those who can make it, but late afternoon, early evening, utilizing existing neighborhood groups, and depending upon the folks who are able to attend, make sure that the language capabilities are available in terms of interpretation. And I think this is going to be quite the extensive process in order to have a lot of positive things happening. And I know the tendency will be for people to talk about what is going on right on their streets, where they live. And I would encourage that information to be included. but also the main cut-throughs. I don't know if there's another name for cut-through, which might have a negative connotation, but mainly Bowdoin Street, from Four Corners down to Kane Square, Geneva from Columbia Road down to Park Street, Hamilton, Quincy, and Adams. So, so I hope there'll be a lot of interaction with people in the neighborhood and with folks from Kittleson and also from the different city departments.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like, given the geographic area and the ground to cover, I mean, we when we did our little internal walkthrough, we did cover a lot of ground, but I imagine we might have to have these broken out into maybe like we cover, one section, one sub area with, a walkthrough, and then maybe another walkthrough with another subset of the neighborhood potentially, rather than having one where we're walking all around the neighborhood, and that might take just too much time and might be unmanageable. So we're going to have to think that through, it sounds like.
Yeah, I would reflect that, Pat, and say, that I think even potentially partnering it with the next occurrence of all of the neighborhood association meetings, that's a known time and entity for groups to meet, and that would be therefore varied, whether Mount Bowdoin, I know, is on weekends. I know other folks are during the weekdays. And having more opportunities is important. I know one of the common themes I see in city engagement is the number of opportunities, and we want to make sure that people feel that they were able to join if they wanted to join.
Fantastic. That kind of leads to these other two prompts that I hear about getting the feedback from the neighborhood and hearing from others that might not be able to join a call like this or be plugged into kind of like the network. So any recommendations maybe on soliciting information? There could be surveys, there could be online, social media solicitation, things like that. Any advice from this group on potentially reaching others? Kind of 2 and 3.
Yeah, I'd love to just jump right in there real quick, Pat. And I know that the revision of the Mayor's Office of Housing website, conjoined with BPDA, decided to exclude comments from projects. I don't know if there is such an opportunity for transportation projects where you could have the city's website where we see these updates to have just that kind of public forum. I think that it's only one digital outlet, but I was sad to see that removed from other projects.
Yeah, I think for our strategies, we could have a dedicated web page with a wiki map, and we could advertise that and maybe get some feedback from neighborhood folks that way as well. But then where others, maybe you have seniors, we would target maybe some maybe housing units that for the seniors and things like that, where we could get a good cross section of the different area concerns.
Yeah, I mean, there's the certainly in this area you have the Pachuco House, and you have 123 Hamilton Street.
Pine Street Inn.
Yeah, that's the Pine
Okay.
Street Inn, and then there's the Menino Pavilion, up on Geneva near Bowdoin. So there are some locations.
That's good. That's helpful.
Yeah.
I hope Caitlin and Juliet, is any transcribing of any of this? I can't.
Yeah.
We've got you covered, Pat.
Okay, great. It is being recorded too as well, so I don't know how you play it back, but anyway. So I was wondering, maybe before I think I'm gonna stop sharing. But we did have a map. We had a map that outlined.
And Caitlin, I think her computer's back up and running. And
All right, I'll stop sharing on my end.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Fingers crossed.
Eric, do you have a
Okay,
puppy
I
up
can
there
see-
making some sounds?
I
Oh,
can
can
see
you hear that?
everybody's faces now. Okay. All right, awesome. All right, so that was good. Did we cover all those 4 kind of prompts on community engagement that we wanted to talk about? It sounds like we went through those and got some good counsel.
So, Pat,
Yes.
if we are seriously thinking about survey tool, it would, it would make sense to have some members of the community along with folks from the city and Kittleson kind of work on that. And then it would need to be translated. And I would encourage the tool to be as concise as possible in order to encourage people to, actually engage that way.
Yeah. I see a raised hand, the counselor.
And
Go ahead.
I just want to raise that I want to see if we can engage Bowdoin Main Street and make sure that all the businesses on the street are well aware of the plans that we have and are part of the discussion as well.
Well,
Thanks
Brian,
so
if you
much
could,
for that.
if you could help out with that, that would be wonderful. Bowdoin Geneva Main Street has been informed of all such meetings, and I guess there's been some difficulty with their being able to participate. But
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, Haris was supposed to make it today, and he couldn't make Haris Hardaway. So I talked to him, and he's we want to plug Haris from Main Streets into this effort. So I think there'll be some participation there. I guess he couldn't make the call today, but I know Haris from his work over in Nubian Square over the years. So I think he's looking forward to participating.
Wonderful. And although we're just the one half of it, we've got 4 corners on the other side. Sorry, Teresa, I jumped in front of you there. Main Streets.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. So the map you can see here now, and I mentioned the small scale safety projects that we already have going that PTD has at pinpointed intersections and small corners in the residential area neighborhoods that we want to focus on. There's about 6 of those as far as I know, but also we have plans. Speaking of 4 corners, Sarah, you reminded me, we have some engineered plans. I'm not sure when they'll be implemented, but maybe this spring or summer. I don't want to hold my colleagues to that, but there are plans for some daylighting and other improvements at 4 corners, and then along Bowdoin Street at some of the intersections like a Corona and Westville. There are plans to extend the curbs to slow down the vehicles on turns using some materials, some paint and flex posts and things like that. Similar to some of the things we have in mind for near-term action items and potentially longer term kind of real granite curb extensions, but developing these type of interventions. And there are engineered drawings that have already been developed for that 4 corners to kind of improve upon that intersection, and then the smaller side street intersections at Corona and Oakley, I think, and Westville. So that's in the pipeline already. But this map, I think we called out, it's not exactly interactive, or we could write on it if we wanted to. I don't know if anyone has anything that they wanted to actually bring up that was on their mind, a particular street, a particular intersection, something that while we have everybody on the call.
Hey, Pat,
yeah.
Excuse me, I'll take advantage of that.
Yeah, I'm soliciting this from you, Donald. Give it to us.
I reached out to the commissioner some time ago about the concerns that I have. I own a 2-family somewhat in the middle of Bowdoin Street between Geneva and Washington. And I have 2 vehicles, and my vehicles have been hit 5 times. Most recently, Christmas Eve, And every time there's an accident involving mine, it also includes one of my neighbors. So it's a hit my car then hits another car. What the issue is the traffic coming, if you're coming up Holiday or I think it's Holmes, you really can't see the oncoming traffic. And so people dart out across Bowdoin, and between, I want to say 74 and 70 Bowdoin Street, that's where a lot of those accidents happen. Really unfortunate. And part of the concern is that I've seen, quite a bit more foot traffic, but you had mentioned crosswalks. My concern has always been the kids and the seniors that kind of walk up and down. And this traffic from Geneva, it's like a quarter-mile racetrack, whether it be motorcycles, lowrider cars, whatever it is. But it's just, it's annoying. I even reached out to my insurance provider. I tried the police department to get some historic data to see if I could pull some numbers together. But just in my own case, five accidents in 7 years. So,
yeah, Donald, I was so glad we connected on this, and this is helpful information. That we're going to do our best to see how to address this, appreciate that. This this is the kind of things that we want to hear about, to get called out from the from firsthand kind of experience. So, David, I see your hand raised.
So, Donald, just to let you and other folks know, there's about 6 pages of such instances or problematic areas that was put together almost like 3 years ago now, that Pat has, that I hope folks from Kittleson and the city departments have seen. Yeah, so I think it might be a good starting place.
It's very good.
I
I think we mapped it out too. I think we've been applying it to our mapping. We extrapolated from the memo that you gave us with the 6 pages. So that was our jumping off point and our foundation. So super helpful. I think maybe we should keep going with this if we can. Everyone, take advantage of the time remaining and save a couple minutes for next steps. But if people want to specifically call out something in the study area from their neighborhood, let's get it on the record now.
We have Teresa and CJ both have their hands up.
Oh, I'll raise my hand.
Hi. So the last time we did a walkthrough with transportation, which was before COVID, one of my seniors actually almost was hit by a car while doing the walkthrough. And that's on the corner of Westville, where Up Academy is. And she lives on Westville Street, which is just a crazy racetrack, even with school in session. So I'm happy to hear that the sidewalks may be extended, but how about something that we could put on that street that stops some of the traffic? I mean, all of the streets going down from Washington all the way to Geneva on the same side as Westville, which I live on Greenbrier Street, and I can tell you in the summertime, I'm always afraid that some kid is going to get hit because they just speed down. I mean, I've actually had C11 come and sit periodically on the street just to ticket people for speeding. So that's a major concern for us.
Thanks for pointing that out, Teresa. We've heard that you're not the only person that has mentioned this. This is so there's a quorum on this on Westville Street. Do you know Joy DePina from the community center?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, Joy. She's the executive director over there. We met with her, and she used to work at City Hall, and she pointed out exactly what you were mentioning. And that street has a decline too. Westville Street, it comes down. The elevation comes down, so that makes it even more problematic.
Actually,
right? It goes downhill.
It goes downhill, and it's very, very dangerous. And then you have a lot of spaces where people can come out that you can't really see them when they're coming out. It's very dangerous. And then you even have the field next to Up Academy, and you just have so many kids over there. And we actually had a kid hit coming out of the after school program at Up Academy. I think that was like 2018, beginning of 2019, something like that. So that's why I was really upset that we didn't get picked for slow streets, because we were actually having so many accidents. So I'm happy to be part of this program.
Yeah, so are we, and we this is good because this has been identified already, and this just it just enhances that prioritization of Westville Street and the community center and the children there and the speeds is something we really want to dial into. So thanks for sharing that, Teresa. Anybody else before we get to kind of next steps? Like we'll take
Pat,
this as long as we can.
Pat,
Yeah.
CJ was next.
Thank you, Juliet. I'm going to piggyback off of Teresa and head down that Claiborne Greenbrier area. So like she said, a lot of speeding on that street, but in particular at the intersection of Tonawanda and Greenbrier, and then Tonawanda and Claiborne, those stop signs going in both directions. Greenbrier is, I'm not sure which direction, it's probably south facing, and then Claiborne is north facing. And those stop signs are always ran through at the corner of Greenbrier and Tonawanda. One woman has had cars crash into her, I forget the word, but where her lawn area is, multiple times have knocked down her barrier. So if we could find some way, I don't know if a curb extension might be it, but even maybe a raised crosswalk. We don't have any crosswalks at those intersections also. There might be one at Claiborne because of the park, but I know on Greenbrier Street there definitely aren't, and we have a lot of seniors in this area, so that would be really helpful. And then I wanted to know if I didn't see the flashing speed signs, excuse me, on the list. Is that a possibility? And then this might be a little bit of a more outside question, but I was just wondering what that number is that you guys go by to say whether it's high traffic, low volume of traffic. What's that criteria?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up, CJ, the speed feedback radar signs. Yeah, that's another tool in our toolkit that, 25 miles per hour, lets motorists know, right, through the radar. They might not be conscious or aware of it as they're kind of looking ahead and not at their speedometer. So another valuable tool in the toolkit. And we'll have to, however we have to find resources and funding to implement these things, that's definitely something I think that could be effective. And then in terms of volumes in data, what was your question about high volumes?
Yeah, just what's that number that you guys would say this is a high volume or high traffic area?
Well, it's we would compare it to like prior data to see if there's maybe an increase over a baseline. The numbers would vary, so there's no real threshold to say like it crosses a threshold and this is high. And it depends on if it's an arterial or a residential street. But aside from the volumes are used more for like determining the signalization timing and things like that. What is more important that comes out of the data collection is the speeds, because it's both volume and speed. And what we really want to target is how fast people are going. And that's going to raise flags, and that's going to give us an indication and give us a gauge where we really want to put in treatments that are going to slow people down. So yeah, the volumes, it's more about like, the queuing and the delays, right? Like we don't want like too much of an unacceptable delay for people that are in a bus or, stuck in traffic. We don't want to discount that at all. But what we're prioritizing, I think, is the speeds in that data set. There's volume and speed. I think we want to look at both of them, but we're able to collect both when we do it. And we want to see how fast people are going, where they're going fast, what's going on, how can we slow them down. But
Thank you.
Thanks, CJ.
Just a suggestion for the radar, if it were to be implemented, I think on Greenbrier, that turn coming off of Bowdoin would be a good option. And then on Claiborne coming off of Park Street, because those are where the cars usually start flying down.
Okay.
Pat, we have a few more people with their hands raised. Samantha was up next.
Yeah, let's take it. Let's take it while we can before we're out of time. I want to respect people's times, and then it's going to cut it close on next steps. But let's hear what who had their hand raised. Go ahead.
Samantha. Yeah.
Hi. So first, I just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Samantha Taylor. I'm the new executive director of Bowdoin Street Health Center.
Awesome.
So
Welcome.
I have not been here very long. I'm 3 months into the role, almost to the day. And I know that we as a health center play a very big role in treating patients in this community, and we play also a big role in contributing to the built environment and some of the transportation and structural challenges that we face in this community. So I'm very happy to be a part of this work group, and I'm happy to contribute in any way that I can. I know that there are a lot of challenges, particularly around the health center, in terms of bottlenecking due to testing and the volume of patients that are coming in and out of the health center. So I'm happy to do a more specific walkthrough of this part of Bowdoin Geneva to assess the structural challenges that are faced here and see how BIDMC, specifically Bowdoin Street Health Center, can help mitigate these issues.
Thanks so much, Samantha. Yeah, we want it absolutely, and I'm glad that the health center, we had kind of like through our networking and compiling our list of the working group that we've assembled here, this kind of committee that participation in the health center is critical to getting a cross section of everybody captured among their concerns. So. But with time, we have Eric and Davida again with the raised hands before
Hi.
we kind of get to next steps.
Thanks, Pat. Yeah, just very quickly, we have 3 properties across this study area at the edges and in the middle. So I totally understand about Westville Street, and I agree from our Upper Washington property. We're out there all the time. At our construction project right now at Bowdoin and Topliff, of course, Topliff has very bad sight distance as you come up and try to enter Bowdoin Street, something that could probably be addressed with a curb extension in front of the barbershop, at our barbershop right there. And then Hamilton Street really is just I think, in my opinion, to the extent that I know the area, Hamilton Street seems to be among the worst of the high-speed corridors because it really is a low resistance street between 2 high voltage corridors at Bowdoin and Columbia Road. Certainly the residents right around our newly acquired property feel that way. And Richfield Street, parallel to Hamilton, is probably just about as bad. I've seen the aftermath of several crashes at Hamilton at Mount Everett, which is right exactly where our project is. A couple of vehicles that have been smashed into a mature street tree that the city very much wants us to keep. And if it keeps getting smashed into, there may not be anything left for us to keep as part of our project. And then I myself have skin in the game. I got a mirror taken off when I was parked for 15 minutes at Richfield and Pilgrim Place back in October. So, I certainly sympathize and agree with everybody who's complaining about the speeds. I do want to say, I think that speed is an issue on probably many, if not most, of the corridors in the study area. I think that friction and congestion are an issue on the core of Bowdoin Street, and that's also something that should be looked at. I stood, this was a couple of years ago now, but I stood at the Hamilton-Bowdoin intersection and kind of watched the green and red times, and I sort of thought that Bowdoin was a little starved and Hamilton was overserviced. So the signal timings probably throughout the study area are something that need to be looked at again. And just the on-street parking and so forth situation contributing to the friction on Bowdoin. Samantha, I appreciate the comment about testing and creating congestion, but I can certainly confirm that congestion was an issue on that stretch of Bowdoin Street well ahead of the pandemic. So anyway, I've got a lot of other comments, but thank you.
No, this is great. And I'm going to propose something since we're over time. I was thinking that we could have a follow-up with this group, the same community folks. We wouldn't need a huge meeting with everybody. We don't need a presentation. We went through the presentation to kind of frame everything. We could have a follow-up and go another half hour or 45 minutes or whatever we need to get everybody's comments right in detail, just like we're doing right now. and then maybe plan around kind of the walkthroughs. Maybe we could get more brainstorming on a walkthrough. Maybe we could have that within the next 2 weeks. A follow-up on this with the smaller group of just the committee and myself and Juliet and Caitlin. How's that sound to everybody? Yeah, something like that. Why don't we do that as our next steps? That we're going to have a shorter, more focused follow-up like this to maybe go over specific pinpointed. Like this is so we already have a list of a mile long, but we want to gather it all, discern through everything, right? And then we have our data collection, walkthroughs. Then we start developing plans and developing solutions. So I think it's worth, instead of kind of rushing through and we're 5 minutes over, why don't we do that? I can set up an abbreviated part 2 with just a subset of this entire call. We don't need everybody in the city on, just kind of our core group. How's that sound? You want to do that?
Fine. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic.
I just wanted to say, in addition to speed and volume, let's not forget illegal turns, not observing traffic lights, stop signs, yield signs, crosswalks. So there really is a lot going on. I just feel like it's the Wild West.
Yeah.
A lot of days. Yeah.
We should have is work with the C. Is it C? What's the
C11?
C11. Yeah, we should do a session with C11 and the captain and see what kind of resources they have in terms of enforcement and some sting operations or whatever we might need. See if we can partner with C11. I know that I'm sure they're stretched thin like everybody else, but enforcement for moving violations, right? That's the police, and we need their help to crack down on the wild west. To your point,
I've asked them to deputize me, and I can take down license plate numbers and get pictures of license plates, but they said that's not good enough. If they're not there and they can't catch it, then it didn't happen. That's the mantra. Okay.
All right, then maybe you'll have to do it anonymously with the phone, your camera phone or something, and submit it somehow. All right, so I guess then in terms of next steps, the way we'll do it is we will have within the next, within 2 weeks, we'll meet again, smaller group, continue this conversation, and then plan on the walkthroughs for like early March. All right. I think this was hugely, valuable today to get this thing going, and your guidance is going to really be important as we move forward to bring other people in to kind of have different issues bubble to the tops, because we don't have unlimited resources, so we want to really focus on what's important and channel our resources that way. So unless there's anything else, I'm going to just thank everybody for their participation, for stepping up, for caring about their community, and my team for their time and participation. So I'm really psyched about this, and looking forward to seeing you guys next time. So thanks, Juliet, Caitlin, and my city compatriots. So we'll see you guys soon. You'll hear from me.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thanks,
so
everyone.
much, everybody.
Thank you. See you soon.
All right. Awesome.